A new survey shows that over 2 million Aussies are unhappy in careers that they just fell into. CMyPeople is an online test set up by recruiter Chandler McLeod and the federal government to address the skills shortage. Well, for more, we're joined now by Business Channel reporter Chow.
Thanks, Brady. So, look, I'm joined now by Chandler McLeod. So it is Chandler McLeod, right? Stuart McLean, who looks after the CMyPeople test.
That's correct.
You are
yes.
part of the recruiter, is that correct?
That's correct, part of the Chandler McLeod group. So we're a business division of Chandler McLeod.
Okay, look, so I guess my first question would be, we've seen a lot of these type of online tests before. A lot of people may have heard of the Myers-Briggs test and so forth. How is this test any different to all of those?
Well, there's a couple of fundamental ways we're different. Number one, we built this test in association with the Australian government. So it's based on the employability skills framework, which is a competency-based framework that allows you to map any job to that framework. What we effectively do is assess an individual, compare them to 36 competencies. We use the same competency model to map the job, so therefore we can talk the same language for the individual and the job, so we can match and put the right person in the right job. A lot of the other tests that have been on the market for a while do that in a very, very simplistic way. Myers-Briggs, for example, compartmentalises people into 16 buckets, for an easier term. So life's a bit more complicated than that.
Sure. Okay. Now part of the reason this project was set up was to help address the skills shortage in the country. Now, I guess the question is, if you're helping people to find what they want to do, how do you know whether that actually coincides with what we need in terms of Australia's skills shortage areas?
Well, think about that in two ways. Number one, if you can get the right people in the right jobs, they will be happier and they'll stay longer. Okay. Number two is, if you have a skills shortage and you want to fill that shortage, you need to find the people that are capable of doing that job or have the competency to do the job. We can train people to do the job, but if they don't have the underlying capability of doing it, you're wasting your time. You're going to train somebody to do a job they're not capable of doing.
Okay. Now, look, you mentioned that a lot of Australians fall into their current careers.
Yep.
What are the type of factors that restrict people's career options so much?
Well, if you think about career guidance, I don't know what career guidance you got when you were at school, but I was good at sport, therefore I should have been a PE teacher. What the constraining factor is the myriad of jobs available now is nobody has the knowledge of all the jobs in the market. A career counsellor, a parent, an individual can't have enough domain knowledge or industry knowledge to know what's available. So what we've done is we've pre-profiled 1,200 jobs based on the Australian standard classification of jobs, so I can assess an individual and show them a percentage fit to over 1,200 jobs, therefore help guide their career to say, here's something you will be good at, not something you think you would be good at.
Okay, but look, knowing what you might want to do and so forth, I suppose that's all well and good, but your research shows that while there are a lot of people who are actively seeking jobs, I mean, in the end, don't most of them just end up not changing anyway? I mean, everyone talks about wanting to find their ideal job, but most of them just go for stability in the end, don't they?
Yeah, that's a valid point. Most people like stability in life, but we have a saying is you can't make up in 2 days at the weekend for 5 days of hell during the week. So eventually you will move job. It's the question of when. One of the barriers to people changing jobs is they don't actually know what else they're good at. The number of people I've talked to that said, you know, I've been doing this job for so many years, but you know, I really don't like it, but I just don't know what I should be doing. So giving them a tool to allow them to see that, which does it objectively, it's not my opinion whether they're good at it or yours, it's based on a psychometric assessment. They now have a tool they can go to an employer and say, I can do this, even though I haven't done it before. So it gives them a way of getting over that barrier of stepping out of a career they're not necessarily enjoying into something that they're more likely enjoy.
Okay. Now, I guess you've seen, of course, the employment numbers come out today, showing unemployment slightly on the rise. Do you think that when people start to become aware of perhaps a worsening unemployment situation, that all of a sudden these ideas of wanting to go after their ideal job go out the window and they just think, you know what, I need to hang on to what I've got like grim death?
Well, I'd have a contrary view to that. I think if you think about it from an employer's perspective, you want the right person in the right job. There's plenty of statistics that show if you have somebody who's happy at their work, who's good at what they do, they stay. Okay? Productivity goes up. If productivity goes up, more productive, happier shareholders, etc., etc. So getting as an individual, making sure you're in a job you're good at, you're suited to, will increase your longevity in that employment. So if anything, it's a counter-cyclical tool.
Okay, well then why is it then, if that's what employers want, why is it then that they pigeonhole their employees? And I mean, how are you going to break out of that as well?
Well, that's a lot of the discussions we have with large corporates. Now we're launching this tool is, part of our tagline is discover the potential within. You think of large organisations in Australia today, they have lots of people, they just don't know the potential of those people. Right? So you may have, an example I use, an airline may have a baggage handler that can't pick the bag up anymore. They may have a competency fit to a call centre operator. They just don't know. So if you have a tool that's capable of mapping the individuals and mapping the jobs, and you can align and get the right people in the right job, productivity goes through the roof. Okay,
so why is it then up till now that they, as you say, that a lot of people do feel pigeonholed by their employers? I mean, what are the factors that have been holding people back?
Well, there's no tool available today that can do this. Today there is. Before we launched CMyPeople, there's no tool that allows you to quickly, cost-effectively map all your employees, map all your jobs and place the right people in the right job. Until today, you could do it. It's thousands of dollars, not hundreds of dollars. Therefore, there's been a barrier to employers doing it.
Okay. Now, if you could just perhaps give us a quick overview of how comprehensive this tool is. Like, for example, you know, it's one thing to say that you can do 20 questions that give you an idea of what your personality is, and here's 200 jobs that you might be suited to. But you know, can you just let us know how that ends up drawing you to the right job?
So the tool that we've built, CMyPeople, is based on 49 years of psychometric assessment knowledge that Chow Group has built up. They have the 50th anniversary next year. We've taken that plus over 500,000 assessments of individuals and built a tool that takes all that knowledge and puts in an online environment. It uses standard psychometric assessment capability. It takes between an hour and an hour and a half to assess an individual, so it's not quick. It's been proven. We've done over 11,000 assessments, mainly in the job network, where we've been helping put unemployed people back to work. And some of the barriers there are the unemployed are unemployable, which is the hardest one. So if we can solve that barrier and put unemployed people back to work, now what we've done is extended the tool and made it more commercially viable in looking at how you use it in a commercial environment.
Okay. Stuart, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Kai.
Okay. And back to you, Bridie. Thank you.
Thanks, Kai. You are watching Trading Day. Coming up next, Babcock shares get absolutely pummeled and BHP suffers a nickel setback. All the details coming up next. First though, here's an update on currencies and commodities.